Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And as Commander just said, my name is Freddy, and I'm one of the many members of the BPC here at Monroe. Now, first, I'd like to thank you for being concerned and compassionate enough to come here today and hear what we have to say. Besides it being a humbling experience, this is also an honor for me to speak to you today about two topics I find to be important, and that is at-risk youth and juvenile injustice. Now, you know, the most dangerous place for a child to grow up in America is at the intersection between race and poverty. There are 5.6 million children living in extreme poverty in the United States alone. 880,000 children are either abused or neglected a year in this country alone. In these settings of extreme poverty, we know these children are exposed to drug distribution, drug abuse, financial struggle, and violence as a reality. So going to school and becoming a lawyer or a doctor or something of the sort almost seems like a fantasy to these children. It's like it's something they can't ascertain because thanks to the raw reality they live in, their dreams get shattered. And what do people do when their dreams get destroyed? They give up. But why, we ask? Why do these youth get involved in trouble and or crime? To answer this question, we must take a dive into the state of mind of a child coming from this environment. Going to school, as I said before, becoming a doctor is one thing that children find to be fantasy. And that's not the only thing. But one thing I've learned about us as human beings is we're social creatures. And we define what's good, bad, right, and wrong, not by what society tells us, but by showing the moral standards of our social groups and what they teach us. So when we come from this environment enriched with drug abuse and violence and struggle, we grow and adapt to what we believe are terms to survive these conditions. Let me say that again. When we come from this environment enriched with violence, struggle, and drugs, we begin to adapt to what we believe are terms to survive these conditions. Children imitate what they hear and see. So more than likely, the behavior a child is exposed to is the behavior he or she will adopt. But for some strange reason, we believe we can tell a child something and expect them to know and understand. But however, that's unrealistic. I have a mother who I love dearly, and she tried her best to tell me what's right and what's wrong. But when I left home just to go to school, to and from, I had to become someone else in order to survive and not continue to be a victim of my surroundings. So what she told me and what I experienced were two different things. And what I was experiencing was far more attention grabbing than anything she tried to tell me. But I wondered, if these youth were exposed to positivity, not told, but shown positivity, and how to actually achieve goals and properly plan a future, the same way that they're shown as negativity, what would the outcome be? Now, just to show you how lost these children are, when you all leave here today, we give you a little homework. You leave here today, and you see a teenager. I want you to ask that teenager, what do they want to be when they finish school or when they grow up? Either way you ask the question, you're going to get the same answer. Then ask them what type of learning tools and training they're going to need in order to achieve these goals. Now, I'm willing to bet 7 out of 10 of these children is going to be stumped on an answer. And this happens because these negative social structures and environment make it hard for most people to even fathom a thought of the future when they're just trying to survive today. Now, trying to survive these miserable, ridiculous conditions that they live in. And I call them ridiculous because the same society that swears to protect these children outcasts them. I'm going to speak to you about myself. I came to prison at 16 years old because I made a choice to take part in a lifestyle I thought I knew, but I really didn't understand. So in April of 1998, I was sentenced to 20 years in prison. I started my time miserable. You know, I was always in trouble. I was lost when I was out there in society, but now I'm just lost in prison. And so I'm trying to blend in and thinking that, you got to be certain ways in here. But by the grace of God, I was sent here to Monroe in 2000. And I was introduced to the BPC. And I met people like Mary Flowers, and Janet, and Martin. But also, the other brothers involved in this program helped me grow up a little bit. And now I'm 26 years old, going on 27. It'll be my 11th year in prison coming up. And the hardest part of this time for me has been, watching my family deal with me being in here. We've been disconnected, and that hurts more than anything this setting has to offer. And at this point, I'd like to share with you a letter that I received, just so you can kind of get a picture of what I'm seeing. Now, this is from my little sister. She says, "When are you getting out? Are there any old people in there?" It's kind of funny, well, not ha-ha funny, but peculiar that you and Chad are going to get out around the same time. You might get out sooner, since you've been in there longer. Remember our cousin Brian? Anyway, he's really nice and stuff, and we're like best friends. He reminds me of you. I don't know, it's like your personalities are similar. But sometimes I forget who I'm with or who I'm talking to. I didn't replace you or anything. It's just kind of nice to sort of have you around. I'm not very good at this letter writing thing, if you haven't noticed. Even though you're my brother, it's kind of like writing to a stranger. I don't know you anymore. Like what you like to eat, your favorite color, stuff like that. So I have to go off memory. I really wish that things would have been different for you. I hate that we couldn't have grown up together, but I guess that's just the cards life dealt us. I'm going to work harder at keeping in touch. Sadly, I don't think I've ever written you before. I can't remember any other letters. If that is true, I am truly sorry. That was unkind of me. Better late than never, I guess. Now, she was 17 when she wrote this letter. I was amazed by her articulateness, but this is the only letter that I received from her, first and only. When I last seen her physically, she was 8 years old. She's now 19 years old. She'll be 19 on November the 8th. This letter hurts me because she went through similar troubles that I did, and I wasn't there to be the big brother that I could have been, and it eats me up. It eats me up. And I have other brothers and sisters too. There's 7 of us total. But the internal struggle has been tough for me. But I'm not telling you this to try to get some sympathy. What I'm doing by telling you this is trying my best to make sure that another youth doesn't relive my story of juvenile injustice. And I want to dive into this. The law says you can't consume alcohol under 21, right? Right? They also say you can't buy cigarettes under age 18, right? They also say you can't get a driver's license under age 16, right? And you can't be in a sexual relationship with a person that's under 18. A person under 18 can't be in a sexual relationship with an adult because recent child studies have shown that teens don't have the mental capacity to make rational decisions. So the whole point of age restrictions is to protect the children. Plus, children make irresponsible choices, right? So, you have these age restrictions on pretty much everything. But everything except prison. Right? They've spoken for a while about changing the driving age because teens are getting in so many accidents. And they talked about changing the alcohol consumption age, whether they're talking about higher it or lower it. The fact of the matter is there's been a balance in talking about changing it because of certain studies. But never in the recent years have I heard anybody argue or debate about charging a 13-year-old child as an adult and sending them to prison for a term of 5 years to the rest of their life. We're talking about a 13-year-old child. But our society has a problem. We have a problem with understanding the difference between the word justice and the word disposal. These troubled youth need treatment, not incarceration.